One thing wrong with every 5-star in Genshin Impact. There's nothing wrong with Dea or Navia, okay? There's definitely nothing wrong with Klee as well, okay? I'ma beat your ass up, boy. He's probably gonna go in order though, which feels bad. Why am I watching a negative video? Just gonna make me sad.
With the release of Natlin right around the corner, I decided to review every 5-star in the game and pick out one wrong thing with each of them. I'll go as fast as I can because we have a lot of 5 stars.
Okay,
First
brother.
character is Diluc. He has a charge attack passive, but you don't want to be using his charge attacks. You either want...
Oh, wait, what for him? Hey, what the hell? I actually didn't know this. He has a charge attack stamina cost. No, yeah, it's true. No one uses the charge attack.
to be using your autos and skill or plunge attacking. Jean's best team is Sunfire, but she has a 10-second uptime on her burst with a 10-second downtime. Besides losing your
I mean, I guess. Okay.
50-50 to her, Chi-Chi's biggest issue is her really bad skill uptime, where you lose out on a lot of energy, crowd application, and healing that it can offer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, her skill lasts 15 seconds and the cooldown's like 30, right?
Which isn't much in the first.
Which was really good in version 1.1. But I mean 1.0 as well. Like, but right now it's like you have Emily, which her turret lasts for like 30 seconds and the cooldown's like 10 seconds. The complete opposite of what was happening in the beginning of Genshin.
Place. Mona's Omen from her elemental burst only gives you 4 seconds to do as much damage as possible before it goes away for 11 seconds. It's extremely easy to whiff Venti's elemental burst if you're too close to them. Keqing is a...
That's the thing with some ults, right? I mean, you try to like point to the closest to the target you want, right? But it ends up like might be hitting the guy behind because you don't know how the targeting works.
good character given very low numbers. Klee's elemental burst goes away when she switches characters and does not follow the active character.
If the ult remains when she's off field, she's gonna be a S tier character. She's gonna be Xiangling. I've been saying this since 3 years ago. She could have been S tier with just this one change, but MiHoYo knew the consequences if that happened. Every damn team will have Klee and Xiangling.
You can't spend too long in his melee stance or his cooldown will be ridiculous. Zhongli's pillar could easily be
the infamous 50-second cooldown.
Destroyed by collision issues, ruining his best in slot artifact piece, taking away some of his damage.
Okay. Actually, true. We don't know when Zhongli's pillar. Did I just say pin? Pillars go away. It's very random. You try not to like summon it in front of the boss if you can. Summon it on the right side, like on the. Try to walk to the right or the left. Like, don't put it in front because the boss collision will prevent the pillar from spawning.
Boosts his team elemental mastery, but at the same time stealing their elemental reactions via his skills coordinated attacks. Doesn't want to be near enemy.
Albedo boosts elemental damage. Does Geo even use elemental damage? I think it's for like harder shield, right? But I don't think Geo needs a harder shield anyway. You generally never build EM on Albedo. Not Albedo, I mean you generally don't build EM on a Geo anyway. Wait, Zilonin's coming out, right? Zilonin probably builds with EM. Maybe it's like you can pair with Albedo? I don't know, man. Because generally speaking, you do not want EM and Geo to be in the same sentence. Okay, Ganyu's perfect.
But her passive keeps in a fixed area that's near enemies.
Passive keeps him in near enemies. What? You don't need to shoot your passive near the enemy. What? Okay, what's the passive? What? Celestial Shower grants a 20% credit bonus to active members in the AoE. I guess what you're basically saying is she has to be inside her ult. I mean, her ult's pretty big. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Near enemies. A large group of smaller enemies can actually be knocked out of his plunges, forcing him to reposition.
Oh, that's true. That's one of the worst things about Xiao. Actually, he can push out the enemies that you're trying to smash.
All Hu Tao players have to learn how to jump cancel because their autos are really bad.
Okay, Hu Tao's like the worst character to learn in Genshin. He's hardest to use character in Genshin. First is, I want to say my personal bias, Klee is harder to use. Klee is the hardest to use character in Genshin, and then next is Hu Tao. I've said this already. You guys can debate the third one.
You can only get 15 out of 30 Grimheart stacks on her own, with the other 15 being locked behind weapons, constellations, and characters.
Wait, really? Okay, what characters are we talking about?
Kazuha can sometimes have a hard time breaking elemental shields if he ends up swirling the element they're made out of.
That's what swirl is.
And he probably will if you end up going against Abyss Heralds.
I think there's like I remember like Naomor said that there was a order to the elements that Kazuha will swirl. The first one being Pyro. That's why you always see like Pyro element with Kazuha. Then I don't know the second, third, and fourth order. I want to say Hydro's the second because I usually see Hydro. But anyways,
The element they're made out
Kazuha's
of.
still good.
And he probably will if you end up going against Abyss Heralds. Kamisato Ayaka's elemental burst hitbox is a lot smaller than you think, and it can just miss enemies randomly.
True.
Created
I heard Ayaka's burst is broken because you can proc cryo like every 0.05 seconds.
to kill thundering manifestations and specters, and gets quickly overwhelmed by larger groups of enemies. The energy she returns,
What?
created to kill thundering manifestations and specters, and gets quickly overwhelmed by larger groups of enemies. The energy she returns through
I mean, she's like the Han in Star Rail.
her elemental burst is really underwhelming.
You expect like a 50% energy recharge? Like, bro, what?
Kokomi wants to be on-field auto-attacking to heal her team, but she can't crit, so her on-field might be a little bit lackluster.
Her on-field is meant for hydro reactions.
Ito's bull
I mean, you can technically just use your ult to like recharge your jellyfish, refresh your jellyfish's cooldown, and then you can swap out. I always do that if you don't want Kokomi to be on field. I am a Kokomi abuser since day one. Kokomi, Nahida, Nilo, our item team for my Spiral Abyss all day, every day. I can attest to this. You can use her like that.
Ushi might be considered one of the worst summons in the game as it only taunts and it does no damage.
Don't diss my cow like that, boy.
Shunha's incredibly niche cryo buff only procs 5 to 7 times. Ye Miko's
Okay.
level 4 Sakura is locked behind a constellation, yet it can be read in her talents.
That's ass move by for your verse.
Ayato excels on taking on bigger groups of enemies, but he's stationary while he does it, and he can't really stagger them, so he's forced to reposition over and over.
Oh, that's
Elon's
nice.
passive doesn't want other Hydra
You want him to be like Virgil, where he teleports while slicing.
units, but Hydra Renaissance wants other Hydra units.
Oh yeah, there's this thing, right? Okay, you can maximize the math, right? You can have 2 hydro units and 2 other elements, so it will be like 25 plus 18 equals 43%. I mean, I guess.
Kainari's slow, hard-hitting nature doesn't really fit well with Denjo. Sino's elemental
I
burst
guess.
lasts so long that a lot of free-to-play support units can't really keep up with him.
Oh, true. But his out lasts like 20 seconds. I think the only other characters are like Nahida and Emily. Who else like turrets and skills like last longer than 20 seconds? Furina, yeah, Furina's like summons last like 20 seconds.
Forcing him to rely on premium support units. The issue with Nilo is that she blooms so much and her blooms are so powerful that she's often killing herself over and over.
This is why Kokomi's good with her. I remember back then I used to read like people would use 2 healers on like Nilo's team, and I'm like, bro, your Kokomi is like enough, bro. Kokomi heals more than enough. I think they like recommended to use Yao Yao for sure, and then use Baiju along with Kokomi. I'm like, bro, just dodge, bro.
Nahida really struggles against wave-like content because she would have to keep applying her mark over and over.
The wave. This is a 5-second cooldown, bro. Like what? It's fine.
The Wanderer is very vulnerable in the air and is often hit out of the sky. Alhaitham is a very combo
Okay, get knocked out,
heavy
buddy.
character, and any hiccups in that combo could really hit out of the sky. Alhaitham is a very combo heavy character, and any hiccups in that combo could really mess up his damage.
Combo heavy. E charge attack. Ultimate swap out. It's for a sub DPS way of playing him.
Dia.
Oh.
For a Genjo
He's not gonna say anything.
Catalyst user, he has terrible application.
Oh, that's true. When I first started using Baiju, I've been saying this. He has horrible Dendro application. I think he applies like once every 2 seconds, which is not enough. Once every 2 seconds is not enough, and it's crazy. Yao Yao applies more than him.
Unlike his elemental burst, missing a skill will generate no source water droplets.
True.
Risley's self-healing is not enough to keep up with the health that he's losing.
What, you want this guy to not have a healer on the team? I guess. Self-sustaining, I guess he got done dirty if you compare him to like Arlecchino and Chlorine, I guess.
Furina drains so much HP that a single unit healer is not enough to heal the whole team, despite
Balance enough. Kokomi is definitely enough.
her passive. Navi has to be stationary when using her Gunbrella, and the range isn't that good either.
I rarely use Gunbrella because I want to like double E and then out and then swap out.
The playstyle that she offers only applies to a handful of characters.
Hey, she got D-Look back in the meta, bro. I'll always be grateful.
Requires a Geo construct to reach max base potential. Only few characters can make Geo constructs, and they're not even on her best teams. Even with her passive, she requires multiple enemies to reach the max amount of bond to life possible. She shoots with her pistol, but she also forces you to get in close with your sword, often getting you killed.
Okay, I guess. You also need to get close to use your E, right?
Siege Ween.
Hey! Who blew this bubble? You all know the rules.
All and babies will be beaten senseless by every able-bodied patron in the bar.
That's right. So who blew it?
What? What was it complaining about Siege Ween again? Okay, Siege Ween. I guess Siege Ween is just a D, not a good character, but I like Siege Ween. So funny that Nilo's biggest flaw is that she's suicidal. I mean, she's supposed to be a niche character, but she does a lot of damage. I love her team. I love that Genshin does these things like Nilo, like you can only use Hydro and Dendro on your team. Like Chevriz, you can only use Electro and Pyro on your team. It's good to like limit your team like that you can use. Otherwise, everyone's just gonna be using Bennett and Xiangling. Yeah, this is a really good video. Okay, I'll like expand on it a little bit. Okay, Emily. I don't think there's like any actual downside I want to say. I really don't have a bad thing to say. Emily is a perfect unit. Okay, Moalani, I have something to say. Is Moalani your enhanced like shark attack? The enemies can easily dodge it. And then Kinich, I don't have Kinich, but from what I've heard from my friends, Kinich is very hard to use in like if the terrain is not like in a flat circle. That's why Kinich like can only be used in like Spiral Abyss or boss fights. Kinich needs a big ass circle for him to fight. That's why like you might think like he's good with exploring. I mean that's true, but in terms of like actual fighting, it's gonna be very hard if you're like fighting on a cliff or something.